It started with a single storm. Then it never stopped. Not for a week, not for a year, but for 2 million years straight. Rain poured across the planet, flooding valleys, swallowing forests, and turning mountains into islands. The skies were never clear. The sun became a rumor, and the earth itself began to rot. Creatures that once ruled the land vanished beneath the rising seas. Those that survived were changed forever. This is the story of the Great Drowning, a prehistoric storm so vast and so relentless, it rewired life on Earth from the ground up. And it all began with fire. Long before the endless storm, Earth was hot. Not just warm, sweltering. We're in the late Triassic period, about 234 million years ago. The supercontinent Pangaea dominates the planet, one massive landmass stretching from pole to pole. Across its endless deserts roam the first dinosaurs, small, agile hunters no bigger than dogs. But they share the land with tougher rivals, armored reptiles, giant amphibians, and predators with crocodile jaws. The air is dry, the sky hazy, rivers run low, and deep underground something is stirring. Volcanic fissures in what's now South America and Europe begin to open. Gas floods into the atmosphere, carbon dioxide, methane, and water vapor, turning the air thick and unstable. The world doesn't know it yet, but it's standing on the edge of the Carnian pluvial episode, the greatest storm in Earth's history. It started quietly, a distant rumble, the smell of wet earth on desert sand. Then, the floodgates opened. Rain began to fall, not in patches, not in seasons, everywhere, all at once. The ancient atmosphere, swollen with volcanic gases, reached its breaking point. Moisture condensed on a planetary scale. For the first time in millions of years, it rained from pole to pole. And it didn't stop. Storms rolled in waves, fueled by the heat of the greenhouse world below. Each drop of rain released more heat, more vapor, a feedback loop that turned weather into weapon. Lightning struck forests that hadn't known moisture in centuries. Rivers overflowed. Coastal plains vanished under rising inland seas. Within decades, the dry Pangaean heartland was drowned, and Earth became a world of water. For the next several 100,000 years, the storm never broke. Day and night blurred together under a curtain of gray. The sun was hidden, its light filtered through toxic clouds of ash and steam. The surface of the planet became unrecognizable. Deserts turned into swamps. Forests drowned beneath mud and sediment. Even the wind changed direction, reversing global weather patterns. It rained so much that the weight of the water may have triggered new tectonic fractures, literally breaking the crust beneath it. Volcanoes roared louder than ever. Each eruption poured more carbon dioxide into the air, and with it, more rain. The cycle fed itself. A climate feedback loop spiraling out of control. Earth had entered what scientists call a super monsoon state. It wasn't weather anymore. It was a planetary system gone berserk. Imagine standing on the edge of a Triassic valley. Yesterday, it was dry grassland, herds of reptiles grazing under the sun. Today, it's a brown ocean. The water rises faster than any creature can flee. Amphibians drown in their own burrows. Insects are washed from the skies. Even plants suffocate, their roots rotting in the saturated earth. On land, extinction spreads like a disease. In the seas, the chaos is worse. Massive floods wash nutrients into the ocean, feeding blooms of bacteria that consume oxygen. The water turns anoxic. Dead zones spreading across the continental shelves. Entire marine ecosystems collapse. Coral reefs vanish. Shallow water species suffocate. This is one of Earth's lesser-known mass extinctions, but it was one of the most transformative. Because when the storm finally ended, nothing on Earth would look the same. In catastrophe, there is always opportunity. As the old world drowned, the survivors adapted. The endless rainfall created new environments, vast wetlands, deltas, and lakes that stretched for hundreds of miles. And those who could breathe, burrow, or swim thrived. Small, warm-blooded reptiles took advantage of the chaos. They hunted along muddy riverbanks, feeding on fish and insects too slow to escape the floodwaters. Among them were the ancestors of modern mammals, tiny, nocturnal survivors who found refuge in the damp darkness. The dinosaurs, too, were evolving. Before the storms, they were minor players in Earth's ecosystem. But the flooding reshaped everything. Their lighter skeletons, efficient lungs, and fast metabolisms gave them the edge in a wet, unstable world. While their rivals, the massive cold-blooded reptiles, struggled and died, the dinosaurs seized the empty land. By the time the clouds finally cleared, they had become the rulers of Earth. The storm had chosen its victors. For millions of years, rain dominated every aspect of life. The atmosphere itself changed composition. Chemical reactions between the rainwater and volcanic gases produced acids that carved the surface of rocks, releasing nutrients into rivers and oceans. Massive erosion sculpted the landscape. Mountains reduced to rolling hills, valleys buried under sediment. Geologists studying the rock record can still see this moment in time. Thick layers of clay and mudstone, the fingerprints of the ancient flood. Each layer tells the same story. More rain, more flooding, more death. And yet, paradoxically, this destruction also fertilized the planet. The nutrients washed into the oceans triggered explosive growth of plankton, tiny organisms that produced oxygen and absorbed carbon dioxide. Slowly, the storms began to calm. The air thinned, and after 2 million years, the rain stopped. The last drops fell quietly. No lightning, no thunder, just silence. After 2 million years of chaos, the skies began to clear for the first time. Sunlight pierced through the clouds. The ground steamed as it dried. Rivers retreated, leaving behind new soils rich with minerals. Life, what was left of it, crawled from the mud. The survivors evolved rapidly. Ferns, conifers, and early flowering plants spread across the recovering land. Insects returned in swarms, and in their wake came new hunters, faster, leaner, smarter. This was the dawn of the age of dinosaurs. Without the storm, they might never have risen. The endless rain had erased the competition and cleared the stage for a new world. Scientists today call it the Carnian pluvial episode. It lasted around 2 million years, between 234 and 232 million years ago. What they've discovered is astonishing. The storm didn't just flood continents. It rewired Earth's climate system itself. Before the rain, the world was dominated by dry continental weather, a global desert. Afterward, the hydrological cycle changed permanently. Moisture began to circulate more evenly around the globe. Permanent monsoon zones developed near the equator. Oceans mixed more efficiently, oxygenating the deep seas. In other words, the endless storm reset the planet. It created the climate stability that allowed future ecosystems, including dinosaurs, mammals, and eventually humans, to evolve. The world that drowned became the world we live in. For decades, scientists debated what triggered the event, but the evidence points to one culprit: volcanoes. In the late Triassic, a massive volcanic province known as the Wrangellia flood basalts erupted across what's now Western Canada and Alaska. These eruptions released unimaginable quantities of greenhouse gases, enough to heat the atmosphere, load it with moisture, and destabilize global weather patterns. As the gases accumulated, they trapped heat, evaporating oceans at an accelerating rate. When that vapor finally condensed, the rain began, and didn't stop. Geologists have even found microscopic ash layers inside ancient mudstone from this time, proving that volcanic activity continued throughout the 2 million year storm. So while the skies poured water, the ground spewed fire. Earth was cooking and drowning at the same time. It's no wonder life had to evolve to survive. When the rain finally ended, the world was almost unrecognizable. The continents were reshaped. Rivers carved new paths. Freshwater lakes became breeding grounds for evolution. In this new, humid world, plants diversified rapidly. Ferns and cycads formed vast jungles. Amphibians reappeared in force, and dinosaurs, once minor scavengers, became apex predators and dominant herbivores. It's no exaggeration to say, without the Great Drowning, there might never have been a Jurassic. Every tree, every bird, every mammal alive today owes its existence, in some small way, to that storm. Because the rain didn't just destroy, it also created. It scrubbed the atmosphere, enriched the soils, and rewrote evolution's script. What happened 234 million years ago isn't just an ancient story, it's a warning. Because we're changing Earth's atmosphere again, just as those Triassic volcanoes did. CO2 levels are rising faster than they have in 200 million years. Oceans are warming, moisture in the air is increasing, and with it, storms are intensifying. We're watching, in slow motion, the same chain reaction that once flooded the planet. Back then, nature took millions of years to trigger it. Today, it's happening in centuries. The difference is, we're the volcano now. Even now, deep in rock strata across the world, the memory of that ancient storm remains. Thick bands of red and gray clay mark where deserts turn to floodplains. Traces of iron and sulfur show how oxygen vanished from the seas. And within those layers, paleontologists have found fossils. The bones of creatures caught mid-transition, half adapted to land, half to water. They are the witnesses, proof that for 2 million years, the rain ruled the earth. It's strange to think that everything we know, the forests, the mountains, even ourselves, owe something to that storm. A storm that erased the old world and gave birth to the one that followed. For 2 million years, it rained without mercy. The earth drowned and was reborn. That was the day when the sky broke open, and the world learned what water could do.